Hey everybody, I'm Lzzy.
And I'm RJ. We are from Halestorm.
Yes, and you are watching Heavy Consequence. Keep it heavy.
Hey everyone, it's Spencer with Heavy Consequence, and I'm here with the dynamic RJ and Lzzy Hale from Halestorm.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
It's so lovely. This has been like summer camp all morning. I'm just
Yeah,
wondering
bump
about
mics?
everybody.
Yeah, cheers. And RJ's a vision in lime green.
Oh yes, you can see him from space.
Yeah, looking very dapper.
A walking mojito.
Yeah. Yes. So you guys are literally back from the dead. I want
Hell
to say
yeah.
that. And not only that, you're back with a vengeance because you've been, since touring picked up, you've been on these really cool tours.
Oh yeah.
And first with Evanescence, and then with the Pretty Reckless, and you bring out really cool bands like New Year's Day and The Warning and Lilith Sar. And I think it's really cool of you, Lzzy in particular, that you're bringing out these other strong acts with strong women in them. And when you're putting together that lineup, is that part of your thought process to get these really strong women in rock out there?
Absolutely. I am in a very fortunate position where I'm able to host that kind of a party. And, it was only a few short years ago where I'd be playing a festival like this and I'd look around and I'm like, I am the only girl on stage this entire day. And now that's just not the case. And it's just to bring all of that into the light, but also just to be a part of that wave. And on a selfish note, I want to hang out with my sisters every now and again, So it's been a lot of fun, and these girls inspire me. We just started up a new tour yesterday, and we have The Warning out with us and New Year's Day. And if you've never seen The Warning, they are three sisters from Mexico, and they just attack the crowd. It's so inspiring every single day.
Yeah.
Very cool. And obviously, when I said you guys are back from the dead, I was alluding to the new album title. It wasn't
You did it.
quite literal, but in case no one got what I was saying in the beginning. But,
Get it? Good. Everybody get it? Who's going to get it? Okay, good.
But seriously, for both of you, with the pandemic and everything that's been going on with the world in the past couple of years, what does that album mean to you? That album title mean to you personally?
For me, it's a war cry of survival. We didn't have any other outlet when we were making this record other than to write through it. And you don't realize how much just touring, your camaraderie with your bandmates, seeing people, seeing fans, and even just the forward movement, having tours. I mean, RJ and I have been doing this in Halestorm since we were middle school. I was 13, he was 10 years old. And even then, we had a bowling alley gig twice a month. So it was the longest we've ever gone without doing that.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how much you use all of those things as weapons in your arsenal to kind of like combat the darkness. So this album was our roller coaster ride of just visualizing, okay, if we ever get back out, what do we want to say when we walk on that stage? And, it's just, it was very therapeutic.
Yeah. I mean, we were pretty anxious to get back at it, so the hunger to get back on the road and do shows again came across, I think, in the recording.
It was funny. We were all listening.
It was a very aggressive.
We were all listening to mixes, and we're like, I think we wrote a heavy record, and like we weren't really trying to, but we had to put the aggression somewhere. You can't lay it out on a stage. So
speaking of heavy, the latest single, "Wicked Ways," has that insane opening scream. It's "Don't call me an angel, I'll always be sinful," and it's just like classic Lzzy scream. But I'd like to hear
my calling card.
And I'd love to hear more about that song, that line in particular, and like the lyrics. And then from a drumming perspective, I mean, just watching the video, your beastly self behind the kit, RJ. If you want to each talk about
doing
that
like
one.
5 things at once.
Yeah.
I mean, really, with this album, we wanted to go big or go home, because even what we thought too is like, okay, let's not only make this the most Halestorm record ever, but let's double down, go to 11 on all of the things that we like to do. And the screams have become part of my vocabulary. And as far as lyrically goes, I mean, this was kind of a journey of self-discovery for me. This is where my not so sweet side and my inherently good place as a person, both of those sides, my dark and light, kind of can form a truce and be like, look, I make mistakes. I also can be mean when I want to be. I don't always like that, but I can. And also, I can be a very, genuine, happy person. And just because I have those dark sides to me doesn't mean I'm inherently evil. But yeah, it's so much fun. We're going to be playing that tonight. And I can't wait to hear everybody sing along.
Yeah, I think that what we were going through during the pandemic inevitably started seeping into the lyrics and started just kind of making its way to the song themes in general. But not only the combined hunger and anticipation of just getting back at it and hitting it really hard forced us to up our game lyrically, but also during the pandemic, there was nothing else we could do but write. So basically, like all day, every day I would just hit up every writer I knew and just be like, hey, you want to get on Zoom and just work on stuff? So that combined with we all felt a little bit more confident and a little bit stronger as songwriters going in the studio. So I think that that's kind of what pushed us to, you're right, like I think it's the most closest Halestorm record as far as like capturing our bread and butter, which is our live show on record, but also I think it's much more different as far as like the level of lyrical work and the themes and all that I think are a little bit more outside of what we've done so far.
And then every time we would get in the studio, it would be like on off because everything would shut down again, or we would have to mask up or whatever. So RJ would walk in like ready to go at like 11 a.m. and just explode on that drum kit. How many cymbals did you?
Oh yeah, we went through a lot
break?
of cymbals, went through a lot
there
of
was
drum
so
heads.
many cymbals and shards. And
our producer Nick also is an incredible drum tech, and we broke a snare head and he got it sounding exactly the way it was for the last take, so we didn't lose those takes. And it was so I'll just say between Nick Resculinix and Scott Stevens, both of them were on the same team. It's the first record that a producer told me to play more.
Yeah, I know.
Also
that is true.
And also one of the first records where I brought back a double bass pedal. So Scott was throwing me all kinds of curveballs, like, "Hey, you want to do some double bass?" And I'm like, well, I haven't done it in years, but sure, we might just dust off the double pedal. Like it's like riding a bike, Yeah, so that was a fun, really amazing challenge making the record.
Cool. And Lzzy, lots been going on in the world from a socio-political perspective, and you've been very vocal on social media and not afraid to speak your mind. When Roe versus Wade was overturned, you wrote a very touching open letter. You've written about LGBTQ rights. And I wanted to know, as an artist, why is it important for you to, get your thoughts out there to your fans? And do you ever worry about alienating any of your fans, by taking a stand?
I feel like my mission statement always is, search for those fundamental truths and those, those unwritten oh duh, like hey, let's be kind to each other. So I feel like a long time ago I'm like, look, if I ever get to the point where people are listening, for better or worse, because I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a politician, I'm going to put out that positive energy and stand up for the things that I believe in. And I don't really worry about alienating people, because I feel like if you can't love somebody as you do yourself, if you can't just be happy for somebody and that's chasing after their own happiness, and if you are that type of person that would hate somebody just because of their political views or who they like to kiss or because of their gender, then I don't care whether you like our music or you like me. But no, the wonderful thing that comes with speaking up, I think that, and it's up to the individual, this is just me personally, I feel like I'm in a position that I can give somebody some hope, and if they can see themselves reflected in what I say or what I do, that's just such a wonderful thing. I get so many letters and individuals coming up to me at shows and just crying on my shoulder and about how they found something out, or maybe by me putting that out there makes them a little braver to be their truest self. So yeah. You got to put it out there.
The feeling is totally mutual on my end as well. Yeah. I find it very important to be a strong ally. Because all the things that you mentioned, the rights that are being stripped away, are things that don't affect me firsthand, but I think it's still very important for people like me to voice up and to be a good teammate and ally in those things.
Fucking go dudes!
Yeah.
Very cool. And as I understand that you guys formed in 1997, I know.
That's true.
And,
way back in
but
97.
You're still very young in the scheme of life.
Thank you.
And, but this is 97 would make this the 25th anniversary of Halestorm.
It is
2022. And just looking back, like when you look back when you first started out, like my question is, first of all, did you think you'd still be going strong 25 years later,
Well,
a quarter century later?
We had no idea.
Well, let's just start off by saying that I was 2 years old when the
Okay.
band started.
Yeah.
So there you go. You can do the math now.
Do the math now. No, we had no idea. I mean, and we didn't have any clue what we were doing. We didn't have any, rich uncles. Like my dad's a mechanic, my mom's a stay-at-home mom. Like, it's like we didn't have any funding. Nobody that we knew in the music business. We had to seek all that stuff out. And the goal, and honestly, it's still kind of the same mission statement, is just to, well, how can we do this tomorrow? How can we do this next week? What other shows can we do? We went from, playing like a funeral and coffee houses and Friendly's restaurant for free ice cream and
That's a whole new
bowling
experience
alleys
playing a funeral.
to bars and then to clubs and then got on some tours and got to like prove ourselves and then ended up getting signed to put out a record and here we are. I don't know, it's crazy. It feels like 6 different lifetimes. But I don't know, we still have that. There's still like something about the dynamic between you and I feel like we're perpetually 15. Like we stopped there. Yeah. That's good.
I think we both still have that mentality of like never turn down a gig, never say no. And every once in a while we've had to just because it would literally kill us. So, like, okay, I think we actually do need to take
maybe
like
not
a week
11
off here and
shows in a
there,
row,
actually take a break,